there. Is this the final straw? Do you want to move so far away that you can brag about it? Would you rather tear out your brainstem, walk out into the middle of the nearest 3-4-way intersection and skip rope with it, then continue living where you do now? Then move to...
I hate this channel.
No! No! Tentacle Acres, where happiness is just a suction cup away.
I got that. It's almost summer, so it's the perfect time to do the spring movie suggestions, right? Of course. It's Mother's Day. Baby's outside with husband. I am taking this moment to make a video. And we're doing spring movie suggestions. And categories are going to be made up on the fly. I have a rough draft. Rough draft. I remembered to write the years down this time. Also, I don't know how the audio is going to be. I have some better be darn tootin' copyright free aesthetic music. It's my husband's phone. So, we're going to start with kids' movies in age progression of appropriateness. After that, it will be made up categories according to me. So for kids' movies this time, so the all ages appropriate one is Aristocats from 1970. It's an all-around wonderful classic Disney movie. No evil witches or evil stepmothers. The butler's kind of a jerk, but I don't think there's anything except maybe a thunderstorm that might spook your kids if they're super sensitive or super baby. But talking pretty kitties make up for it. Next we have Robots from 2004, which is a really good you can do anything you set your mind to kind of movie. Also, you find your friends in the least expected places. Family is where your support system is. Kind of wonderful, fun kids movie. There's lots of fun visual gags, lots of fun puns, naughty puns for the grown-ups that will go right over the kids' heads. Not only like you can set your mind to anything you want to, but it's also like appreciate who you are, the way you're made kind of movie. It's just great. It's just great. Everyone should watch it. It has Robin Williams in it. Next, we have Shrek from 2001. This one I think is better for, that's why I put it third, is because it's better for like 9 to 11-year-olds. They'll get the jokes more. The slow pacing won't be too boring because the jokes make up for it. And it's a classic. Everyone should watch Shrek at least once in their life. Next we have Ella Enchanted. It took me a while to appreciate this movie. Like a while. Because it's so vastly different than the book. And the book meant so much to me in my childhood, helped me through so much. It's my copy that I put in storage for no good reason 7 years ago is super tattered. I still, up until I put it in storage, read that book at least once a year for comfort reasons. So the movie being so vastly different, it took a while for me to really appreciate it. But it is so funny. There's singing, there's almost cheesy special effects, there's great practical effects. The uncle is our villain, and he's just so caricaturized that he's not that scary. So I think this is a good movie for like also like 9 to 10 to 11-year-olds. So I'll finish off with a movie that's animated. So it's in the kids section, but there's a lot of kind of dark themes So I think it's better for like young adult type age, 14. Maybe, I mean 11 to 14 probably. It's The Last Unicorn from 1982. It's a really good fantasy story. It's got deep themes, some dark themes. It's very much a, how would I put the like theme, the moral theme? It's almost like you can, your nature doesn't define you. Like what the life you're born into, life you're given, could change at any moment, and you could completely have to change your identity or lose your identity. I don't know. It's so tricky. That's why it's like everyone should watch it. Because it's one of those movies where if you're not paying attention to the undertones and the subtler, like, it's all based off a book and it's really accurate to the book. So if you're not paying attention to like the literary themes of what's happening, it's kind of one of those movies where like, was someone on acid? No. It's a fantasy story. It's fun. It's a fun movie, but also be prepared to have emotions with it. But I think everyone should watch it at least once in their life. So next I have Teens in Spring. And we have 3 movies for Teens in Spring. 2 of them happen to be teen pregnancy movies, but they're funny-ish. Well, yeah, they're funny. They're comedies, but anything like that has undercurrents of a serious theme. Even Mean Girls, which is on the list. There's lots of subtle, like, plot and character development that's deeper than, like, at first glance. And most movies are, which is why I like movies so much. So Mean Girls is 2004. Pretty sure everyone's heard of Mean Girls. This one took me a long time to appreciate because school sucked. And I didn't want to watch this movie, like, ever. Why would I want to watch that? But I've definitely grown to appreciate it more over the last few years as a 30-something-year-old, which is ironic, I think. But it's on the list. Watch it. Next we have Juno. Juno is a very artsy film. It's about teen pregnancy and the process of adoption, like the long process of adopting out your child when you're pregnant as a teen. With an actually, like, she has a super loving, supportive family, which I love the dad so much. And, like, the guy she likes is so awkward and dorky, and I love it. Like, in the right way. Awkward and dorky gives me the anxiety sometimes, the secondhand embarrassments. The main character, the way she was played, it's just so sarcastic and unique and wonderful. And like I said, it's a really artsy film. The Moldy Peaches did the soundtrack, so that'll give you a clue. I love it. And then next, we have Saved. I don't know why I wrote AP in parentheses. Maybe editing me will remember, and I can write it here. Otherwise, I don't know why that's there. So Saved from 2004 is another teen pregnancy movie but it's set in a evangelical Christian high school, so she has to hide it. And like the naughty kids in school, the rebel kids are the only ones that know. So she ends up like being cast out from like high school society just because she's hanging out with the rebel kids. No one knows she's pregnant until she's about to pop. But that's a really good movie. That was definitely spoilers. Let's see if I can fix that. I don't know. Saved is a really good movie about... it's another one about like overcoming the world you were born into and figuring out what's right for you versus what you were told. I love that shit. So next, I think we'll go into wedding season. It seems kind of appropriate after a couple pregnancy movies. So wedding season, this category, I have two movies. One is Monster-in-Law from 2005, and that one has Jennifer Lopez in it. And it is one of the funniest comedies ever. Even if you don't like romantic comedies, even if you don't like wedding movies, if you want to laugh, you need to watch Monster-in-Law. Guy, girl, anywhere in between, or otherwise, watch Monster-in-Law. It's so worth it. Jane Fonda plays the mother-in-law, the monster-in-law, and it's just... Oh, and Wanda Sykes is like is her assistant, and the comedy in this movie, it's flawless. There's sarcastic comedy, there's outright comedy, there's physical comedy. It's just gold. Please watch it. And not quite as funny, still comedy, is Runaway Bride with Julia Roberts and Richard Gere from 1999. When it first came out, everyone was like, is this a Pretty Woman sequel? No, they just happened to be in the same movie together again. And it's just such a good movie. Runaway Bride is underrated, I think. And I just watched someone like critically analyze it, and they were so like poo-poo. But I don't care that it follows a formula. It does it in such a way that is wonderful. It's a woman who has trouble with commitment because she's never had time in her life to figure out who she really is. So she's always molding herself to each partner, and then when it gets time for the commitment part, she panics, hence the runaway bride, because it's usually at the wedding when she's like, this is not great, and books it in some unique and fun way for the audience. I think the underrated part of this movie is Richard Gere's like sidekicks, is his ex-wife and her new husband, who's played by... The ex-wife's new husband is played by Joe from Princess Diaries, the same actor as Joe from Princess Diaries, and I will look up his name because he deserves to have a name. And he's just awesome, and he's always like, whatever movie he's in, he's always like my favorite character. But this movie, I have so many favorite characters, including the main character. She means so much to me, and her best friend is Joan Cusack. I have my Joan Cusack hair right now, and their friendship is just it's wonderful. Oh my god, the grandma, she's the funniest. She's so funny. I would say the dad and the grandma are like Julia Roberts' character's sidekicks, as opposed to like Richard Gere's ex-wife, because he's actually really good friends with the ex-wife's new husband. It's just really funny. It's a fun movie. Watch it. Okay, next, moving on, because the kids are not going to hold out much longer. We have Living Through Music. I'm not going to make it through this video. Anyway, Living Through Music, I have two movies. I have The Banger Sisters from 2002, and this is one of my all-time comfort movies. Anytime I need to be reminded that being myself is okay, and whoever that is always changing, and that's okay, and remembering who you were is also okay, and all of this is meant to be a journey, and it can be felt through music. And that is one of my all-time favorite movies. I cannot live without it, and I broke my copy a couple years ago, and so I was extremely ecstatic to see it got put up on streaming recently. I don't remember which site, because I have like a ton of streaming things, so I'll put that here somewhere. But please, like, everybody who likes music and movies needs to watch this movie. Just period. Also, High Fidelity. If you like music and you like movies, you need to watch High Fidelity. From 2000. When I was looking this up to see the year, I know what the movie is. I saw they did because it's based off a book, they did a remake, but it's another version of it as a mini series for HBO, one of them, and it actually looks really good, and they gender flipped the main character, and it looks really good, but it doesn't have Jack Black. Mine has Jack Black and John Cusack and Joan Cusack. I love when they're in the same movie together. They're so fun. Especially when they don't. Oh, that's the spoiler I'll give away, is at first they like each other and then they don't like each other. And I just, in my head, having the Cusacks like butt heads in a movie.
Hey, Liz.
Hey, Rob. You. Hey, Darren.
It just makes my day. But there's a weird neighbor character, played by a really popular actor, or a really famous actor, who's usually plays really serious roles, but he plays such a caricature of this neighbor, and it's so funny for like no reason. Then the main character owns a record store, and he has two people who work with him at the record store, and they're his best friends, even though he kind of can't stand them. But they're his only friends. And it's Jack Black and this other guy, and they are just the yin and yang of comedy. I swear. Like, Jack Black is so out there and loud and animated physically, and then his partner, gosh, I can't remember his name, even the character's name right now, but he's so just like timid and dry and like flat aspect, and it's just so funny. And then here's our main character going through like life struggles around with all this going with them as they're like his like sidekicks. It's so good. And then he talks about movies, like not movies. He talks about music a lot, and like uses music to explain his life a lot, and I love that because me and my dad were a lot like that. Also, he like breaks down throughout the movie a couple times how to make the perfect mixtape, which was so fun to watch this when it first came out, because me and my dad had always made mixtapes. And I got to watch him make mixtapes. It was like our hobby, and it's just great. Please watch this. It's the moral theme is more like you have to let yourself change over time, and that's okay. And sometimes it's good to look back and see why you were the way you were in order to see what's going on now, and how that might affect a long-term relationship, because he has a girlfriend, sort of. The movie is kind of about a breakup, but it's more of a journey. and I can't remember her name, man, but she plays this role so well. She's like the serious role in the movie, and it's just, she's so good at it, and you just feel for her so much. But you still want our main character to succeed the most. It's just an interesting dynamic. The acting in this movie is just wonderful. So, that was Living Through Music. So, living through music, another life thing is grieving, right? So, I have a couple grieving through adventure movies, and they are comedies. One is a flat-out comedy, and one is a dramatic comedy, and I'm shaking the table by accident. Oops. Our flat-out comedy is Without a Paddle. It is so freaking funny. And it's about kind of that midlife crisis moment in your mid to late 30s where you're like, what the hell just happened to the last decade? Where am I supposed to go from here? Was all of this a waste of time, or was it building towards something? Now we've lost someone, and we have to figure out what that means for our life. And sometimes old friends are the best way to heal from something like that. And that's the kind of movie it is. And while doing all of that, it is a comedy. Like through the whole thing, even the funeral is funny. And it's got Seth Green in it, of course. He's like the best. And then it's got Matthew Lillard. And it's the other friend. What's his name? I'm almost done. You guys can come back. I know it's probably getting cold and stuff. So yeah, that didn't work out earlier. I cut. The baby was not having it. She might hear me now and freak out, actually, but we're gonna try anyway. Let's finish this before more kid stuff gets in the way. Where were we? Oh yeah, we were right in the middle of grieving through adventure. And we had Without a Paddle, which is like a true, like, absolute adventure movie. And then Catch and Release is my second pick for this category from 2006. Catch and Release from 2006. He disappeared. Jakey, come back. Anyway, he'll come back. So Catch and Release is definitely a grieving movie. It's more of a dramedy than just a comedy. But Kevin Smith did not write it, but the writer had always pictured him in mind for the character he eventually played. And he's one of the friends, and he's just awesome. And it's Timothy Olyphant, right before he played Hitman, and I love his character so much. Hi, you're back. And it's Jennifer Gardner, the one from Alias. And on first watch, like when I was a teenager, her character made me feel a little awkward. Teenager? Yeah, teenager. But since having to grieve, it no longer feels that way. It's a really, really great portrayal of a really intense grieving process and how comedy happens in life whether you want it to or not. And even in the depths of really tough situations, there's still comedy to be found. There's a lot of feels to happen in this movie. Lots of feels. But really good messages, really good soundtrack. takes place in Boulder, Colorado, so it has super gorgeous scenery and super kitschy like vibes. So that was it for Grieving Through Adventure. Next, I have just like outright comedies, and I don't have a clever title for that. I have Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy from 2005, where Alan Rickman plays a little adorable robot, and it's I classify it as a British comedy. The whole cast is British. That like, I'm pretty sure the director and all that. Our main character is from England. It has Zoe Deschanel before New Girl, and what's his name, who plays abso-freaking-lutely everything, but is never the same. He's so unique, but I can never remember his name. I'm sure I have put it up here already. But it's a super fun movie. Lots of like quick, subtle humor, dry humor. British comedy. I don't know how else to put it. But it's great. Super sci-fi, super futuristic, super like comic-y. Like the imagery is really bright and exaggerated, and I love it. And we get a narrator. I like movies with narrators. I don't know why, but I like movies with narrators. And then also super sci-fi, but in a different way, we have Paul from 2011, and I love this movie so much. I have such big dreams of Comic-Cons and never gone to, and that's where our movie opens up, is Simon Pegg, and it's really not nice that I don't remember his name. I want to say Nick Frost, but I don't know if that's it. I think it's Nick something. Names are not my thing. Good thing I can look things up. They were in before Paul as a movie. They were in a lot of British comedies together, like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. It was before This Is the End. Or whatever that one's called. But this is not technically a British comedy. American written, American director, takes place in America, is very America-centric. You get to see a lot of like Western scenery, which I love, because like the land of America becomes kind of almost a character, like getting to see all these like hot spots of like their adventure, and some really unexpected things happen. This is one, like, please watch the unrated version. Like, it's worth it. Like, it's worth it. It's really not that bad, and it's worth it. It's super fun. Oh, that's a good one to end on, because I had it as a standalone masterpiece. Can you stop? Come on, come here. Hi. You want some of my lint? Yep. So, as a standalone masterpiece, I have Waterworld. Now, I remember being, like, harassed throughout my life for loving this movie so much, and now it's, like, actually starting to be appreciated because of the massive amounts of practical effects that went into making this movie. And this is one of the... I have a thing with extended editions and director's cuts, where if it's not edited correctly in my brain, like it doesn't flow with the rest of the movie, it makes me irritated. And this is one where if it's your first time watching, because it's already a long movie, if it's your first time watching Waterworld from 1995, please watch the theatrical edition. It is worth it. The pacing is better, the soundtrack flows better, dialogue flows better. Dinner props. He wants more of my list. I think I'm done. Look at his face. He's so intense. Okay, one more piece. So yes, if you're going to watch Waterworld and it's the first time you've ever seen it, I really recommend watching the theatrical edition first, and then as a rewatch, watch the extended edition. It's all about pacing. Like, I'm 90% sure if you watch the extended edition off the rip, you're gonna get bored. It just doesn't flow very well. And you do get a little bit more like backstory, current story, but it doesn't really, I feel like you're almost lost more with the extended edition with those extra details than you are when they simplified it for length. So anyway, that's my ramble. Please watch the theatrical edition of that movie. And yeah, that's it for my spring picks. I wasn't trying to make like a super long list, but I really wanted to make one because I consciously skipped Valentine's Day movies. But then it set me off my flow, if you could have called it with that. I don't really have flows. What would I call what I have? Ping pongs. I ping pong. Not ping pong. Ping pong is the one with the table. Pinball. I literally had to sing the first two lines of
Pinball wizard, there has to be a twist. A pinball